All right, well, we are going to resume our competition. We have renamed the teams. Over here we have Quamesis, which includes Quentin, Jamie, and Genesis. And over here we have Creethdole, which includes Chris, Ethan, and Kendall. And right now, Creethdole leads Quamesis 12-9. This time, teams are fair and balanced. There are three people each. So you'll always be competing against the same person, which does help in, I think, remembering who you're up against. So Ethan and Quentin, it's going to go down. Chris and Genesis, it's on. And Kendall and Jamie, this is war. All right, so make sure you answer loud enough for me to hear you. Again, you can answer anytime as I ask the question. And let's pick up where we were. Remember, if there's a term I ask, you didn't know it, just write the term down. Don't try to write the whole definition down. If I ask a fact, try to abbreviate the fact as best you can, and you can go back and review those things at a later time. Also, don't forget your notebooks are due on Thursday. Your exam will be on Thursday. That'll be in lesson 173. What do we call, gentlemen, a geometric figure bounded by 3 straight lines?
Triangle.
Point for Creethdole. All right.
Skyrim City.
Next two, what do we call any line drawn in a triangle from a vertex to the midpoint of the opposite side?
Bisector.
Next two. Anyone? Median of a triangle. Vertex to midpoint. Median of a triangle. Write it down. All right, we'll go to the back row. Back row. What do we call any line in a triangle drawn from a vertex perpendicular to the opposite side? Altitude.
Wow.
And you do not have to wait for me to stop talking. You can interrupt. You just have to be loud. Front row. The sum of the 3 angles of any triangle equals?
Straight angle.
Straight angle.
What?
This is a massacre.
Come on, Quamesis.
Such a Pokemon.
A triangle that has all 3 sides equal.
Equilateral triangle.
Oh, I forgot it was my turn.
Gotta keep up. We're on the back row now. Triangle with no sides equal. Scalene. Point for Quamesis.
Yes.
Let's see. Front row, a triangle with at least 2 sides equal.
That's isosceles.
Next two, what do we call the equal sides of an isosceles triangle?
Legs.
You should have got that. Reservoirs.
Back row, triangle that has an obtuse angle in it.
Obtuse.
Obtuse triangle. She got the word obtuse out before she did, and that's all she said, so. All right, in a right triangle, which of course is a triangle with a right angle in it, the side opposite the right angle.
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse.
Quinn, I am blown out of water.
Any plane figure bounded by straight lines.
Say again?
Any plane figure bounded by straight lines. Too specific. Polygon.
Thank you.
Back row, in a polygon of more than 3 sides, a line drawn between non-consecutive vertices.
Diagonal.
Diagonal.
Come on, bro.
She's cis, not bruh.
Sis.
All right, a polygon that is both equilateral and equiangular.
Same word. Regular.
Regular polygon. Regular polygon.
None of us are.
Next two, a closed curve in a plane. All of these points are equally distant from a fixed point in the plane called the center.
Circle.
Circle.
Whoa. My man went rock on.
The distance around a circle. Circumference.
Thank you.
What's up?
Any line from the center to any point on the circle. Radius. A straight line that has its endpoints on the circle.
Diameter.
Too specific.
Really?
Inscribed?
A line that has its endpoints on a circle.
Oh, is it a
Chord.
Chord.
You.
All right, back row. Any limited portion of a circle. Arc. An arc that's half a circle. Semicircle.
Wow.
An arc that's a fourth of a circle.
quad? Not a quad. A quadrant.
Quadrant. There we go. Quadrant.
Quad. We're going squads, boys.
Plane figures that have the same size and shape and can be made to coincide throughout. Congruent. The matching equal parts of congruent figures. The matching equal parts of congruent figures are called.
Equal segments.
Next two.
Equal
Oh.
parts of.
Anyone? Corresponding parts. All right, back to just
I feel dumb now.
Genesis and Chris.
Put over there.
Back to Gis. All right.
Isis.
Sis.
That's your part of the name.
What do we call part of her name? That's why it's part of this name.
I'm gonna start calling you
Gen-
that.
Genesis is
Gin Isis.
Genesis is an Isis.
That's why I tell
process.
people spell their name. Jen Isis.
Except Gin is G-I-N.
Now I have to
but
remember that.
anyway.
There you go.
All right. So
On.
Gin Isis and Chris. What do we call a general statement that is accepted without proof to be true?
Axiom.
Axiom.
You.
This is what.
I know. You're a real Isis. Oh, game over.
Front row complements.
This
Back row, excuse me. Complements of the same angle or of equal angles are, if two angles are complementary to the same angle,
Are they equal?
they are equal. If two angles are complementary to the same angle, or if they're complementary to equal angles, they are
Got
equal.
an answer. That was Jamie.
That was Jamie.
I know
Front
what
row. The sum of all the angles about a point on one side of a straight line,
Equals triangle.
straight angle. Where are we at here?
I don't know.
25 to 19. 25 to 19.
Go say boy.
All right. When two straight lines intersect, the blank angles formed are equal.
Right.
Oh, if they make right
Vertex
angles.
Vertical.
Vertical angles. Vertical
Oh,
angles
all
are
right.
equal. Back row. A geometric assumption accepted without proof to be true.
Geometric statement.
Front row.
Postulate.
Postulate. A postulate. Who wrote the Elements?
Was it the elements?
Greek mathematician who wrote the Elements. 13 books. The first 5 of which.
Lucid.
Lucid.
I'll give it to you, Euclid.
Lucid
Euclid.
dreams.
Not lucid. And certainly not that. That got very dark. What do we call a statement that is not self-evident, back row, but must be proven by a chain of deductive reasoning?
Geometric statement.
Yeah, but what do we call the statement? Not self-evident, must be proven by a chain of deductive reasoning.
Zero.
Theorem. Theorem.
Can you turn the air on? You might have died.
No, not right now. We're in the middle of a game.
Just keep going.
We're short on time. Front row. What do we call the process of deductive reasoning?
Excuse me?
Proof. The process of deductive reasoning, whereby the truth of the theorem or the correctness of a construction may be established. It is a proof. What do we call a statement that can be easily proven from a preceding
Corollary.
theorem as a corollary? Good. Okay. I'm going to go to Kendall here. And Kendall, there are 4 ways to prove any 2 triangles congruent. If you give me all 4, you get the point. If not, we go to Jamie.
Proving triangles.
Any 2 triangles congruent, 4 ways.
Side angle side angle, leg.
Well, any 2 triangles.
Bruh.
Side. Side angle.
There it is.
Go.
Good. So side, angle, side, side, and side, angle. Jamie, I'm going to come to you. 4 ways to prove right triangles congruent. Can you give me all 4? You get the point.
Leg angle, hypotenuse leg, hypotenuse angle.
Good, got all 4. Leg angle, hypotenuse angle.
Subbar.
Not do that again.
What?
Let's
Not
not
too
list
late.
things anymore.
Not list things anymore? All right, front row. What does CPCT stand for?
Corresponding parts equal.
Excuse
Am I
me.
trying?
Let's just say that one together as a class. We'll give them a new question. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are
Semi
equal.
triangle.
I heard semi-tron. I was like, this is not working well. All right, front row. In a proof, before you start the proof, you think through how you're going to accomplish the proof. This is called.
Syntax.
This is front row.
Analytic. Technically.
Well, what do we call the process whereby a strategy is devised? It's called the analysis. Analysis. Okay, we're gonna give you guys a third question. Your third try is the charm.
That's it. That's it.
How stupid you feel.
What do we call front row lines that are added to a figure to assist in completing the proof?
Auxiliary line.
Auxiliary
I don't know.
lines.
Dude, those are my favorite.
We know.
No.
You made that quite.
Genesis Chris.
Yes.
If in a triangle, two angles are equal,
And that sides are equal. Corresponding sides are equal.
which sides?
The sides opposite the equal.
The opposite sides. Opposite sides are equal.
My brain.
Opposite sides are equal. All right, back row. How does an exterior angle of a triangle compare to either opposite interior?
It's more than, or more than.
It's more than either one. And greater than is the term I was looking for. Not more than worse, but greater than.
More than.
Greater than.
Lesser than.
Front row. What do we call a statement that is formed from another statement by switching the if and the then, interchanging the hypothesis and conclusion?
Correlative. Correlative.
Next two.
Is it synthetic?
Anyone? Converse statement. A
Converse.
converse statement.
I was thinking it was a B in
I
there.
thought there was
Class, are
a-
converse statements always true?
No. Yeah.
No. Converses of definitions are always true, but converses in general are not always true. All right, middle. Lines that are everywhere the same distance apart and therefore never intersect.
Parallel.
Parallel.
Ooh, yeah, I'm too fast.
Back row, a line that intersects two or more other lines. A line that intersects two or more other lines. It could be perpendicular, doesn't have to be. Front row? Anyone? Transversal. Transversal.
I remember that.
And remember, when lines are cut by a transversal, you get exterior angles and interior angles. If they're parallel lines, then alternate interior angles are equal, alternate exterior angles are equal, corresponding angles are equal. If two lines are parallel, let's see, who did we leave off
Eeny,
on?
meeny, miny, moe.
Let's just start at the front again because I forgot where we were. Front row. If two lines are parallel to the same line,
There we go. They're parallel.
they're parallel to each other.
No.
All right, next two. If two lines are perpendicular to the same line,
They're equal. They're perpendicular to each other. They're parallel.
they're parallel to each other.
If you just keep guessing, eventually you'll get it.
Yep, just keep going.
Multiple guess.
It's a three-piece.
It doesn't work on the test that way, but in review games it kind of does.
Parallel, perpendicular, and visor.
Back row. If two angles have their sides parallel, right side to left side and left side to right side, the angles are
Equal?
front row,
Parallel. Perpendicular. So cool.
supplementary.
Oh, it's almost the same. But it doesn't work.
It's either equal or supplementary. All right, middle. In any right triangle, the two acute angles are always
Equal. 60 degrees. 45 degrees.
back row. In any right triangle, the two acute angles are anyone?
Complementary.
Complementary, no point.
Oh, come on.
All right, back row, you get your own question. How big is each angle of an equilateral triangle? 60 degrees.
Thank you. Where dog?
I'm gonna be, I'll be some
I don't care.
Huh?
Never mind. I was like, we'll go back row again, but no, we won't. We'll go to the front
He's
row.
about to make fun of Kendall.
What's the shortest line that can be drawn from a point to a line?
Parallel.
Next to you.
perpendicular.
Perpendicular. Shortest line that can be drawn from a point to a line is the perpendicular.
They're like, go to school.
All right, back row, polygon with 4 sides.
Quadrilateral.
Quadrilateral.
Front
Front row. Quadrilateral having opposite sides parallel.
Parallelogram.
Parallelogram.
I could not think about it.
Next
I'm trying
two.
to say it for 10 seconds.
Parallelogram having 2 adjacent sides equal. Rhombus. Back row.
What again?
Parallelogram, one of whose angles is a right angle. Rectangle. Front row. What do we know about the diagonals of a parallelogram?
They bisect each other.
They bisect each other.
I said that recall.
Next two, what do we call a rectangle having adjacent sides equal?
Parallelogram.
A rectangle having adjacent sides equal.
A rectangle? Right, oh no.
Back row.
Similar.
Square.
Square.
Really?
Adjacent sides.
I'm messing with you, Genesis.
Genesis.
Where?
Genesis, me and you
The one time
have
you don't say
is a
square.
combined brain cells of a squirrel.
No, they have to eat.
No, we have the
All right, let's see.
middle row.
Where are we at here?
Middle row.
The back.
Back row got that, so we're to front row. Front row, what do we know about opposite sides of a parallelogram?
They're parallel or equal.
Parallel and equal. Next two, what do we know about opposite angles of a parallelogram?
Equal.
They're equal. Back row, what do we know about consecutive angles of a parallelogram? Consecutive angles of a parallelogram.
Complementary.
They're
Supplementary.
supplementary.
Let's go!
They're
Yes,
supplementary.
Get out.
Front row, what do we know about the diagonals of a rhombus?
They bisect each other. And are equal.
What
They
is
bisect each other.
They bisect
and they
each
bisect
other.
the angles. Equal.
They bisect the angles
And they're perpendicular.
perpendicular.
Where?
Alright.
Go!
3 P's, boys.
8 points right there.
Next row, what do we know about the diagonals of a rectangle?
They equal. They bisect.
Equal and bisect, point for each.
Dang.
Oh, let's go.
Put no point.
Because it's more fun to put points.
You can't
More than I thought you were lazy. That's more movement you have
So
to do.
much.
Back row. If a line joins the midpoints of 2 sides of a triangle, then that line will be no name line. Okay. What 2 things do we know true about front row the no name line?
It's parallel to the base.
Parallel?
And perpendicular. No. And
What did you say?
Well,
Well,
formula for it.
there is
it
that
bisects the legs. It bisects the
parallel to the third side. Anyone else?
Half the sum.
Half
of the
the third side. Half the third side.
Okay.
No name line in a triangle. No point for this. In a triangle, midpoint, midpoint. No name line's parallel, and it's half. So if this is 8, that's 4.
Top is bottom is bottom is top.
Well, that's for any parallel, not
Did you really
necessarily
just
specific
say-
no name line. All right, middle people. Middle people. Quadrilateral with only 2 sides parallel.
Trapezoid.
Trapezoid. No,
Oh, you calling this
no,
an
trapezoid. Back row, the parallel sides of a trapezoid. Bases.
Oh.
Let's see. Front row, non-parallel sides of a trapezoid.
Legs.
Legs.
I got burst.
Next to, if the legs of a trapezoid are equal, the trapezoid is called an
Congruent. No, regular.
Lateral trap.
Equal. Oh, no.
next row.
Right? Isosceles.
Isosceles trapezoid. Isosceles trapezoid. Front row, the line that joins the midpoints of the legs of any trapezoid. Median.
I was trying to say that. I just couldn't
When
get
is
it
the
out
only
of
one
my
getting
mouth.
points for that too?
Did you?
They've all gotten
I did
points
not
this
say
game.
Square. The one chance you had to get.
All right, a polygon, all of whose angles are equal. That's an example of one, but
Rhomboi.
in general, any polygon that has all equal angles.
Quadrilateral. Equilateral.
Equiangular, there we go, equiangular.
Square.
What's it wrong?
More.
Back row. If a point lies in a perpendicular bisector of a line, then that point will be Equidistant from the ends of the line. Front row. If a point is equidistant from the sides of an angle, then it will lie in the angle bisector.
So cool. I am.
So cool.
Next row, 3 or more lines that meet in the same point. 3 or more lines that meet in the same point. Asterisk. Well, it's an example. Square. No. Back row. Concurrent lines. Concurrent lines.
I know that now.
Chord.
That's all for you, David.
All right.
like
Back row. We'll give you a fresh question. How are we doing over here? Let's see. It looks like a 6-point lead for
Why does it
Kriefdal.
keep me six?
6-point lead for Kriefdal.
Okay, swear.
All right. It's not your turn. All right, back row. The 3 altitudes of a triangle all meet in the same point, called the orthocenter.
What are you, a dentist?
Orthocenter. No, orthodontist. Next
Dentist.
2, front row. The 3 medians of a triangle meet in the same point, called the
Epicenter.
Epicenter.
It's not either you or
In-
mine.
next 2.
Incenter.
Anyone?
That's what
Centroid. The centroid.
I did say it too.
XQ or SQ.
Class, the perpendicular bisectors would meet at the circumcenter, and then the angle bisectors at the in the
I was
center.
waiting so long for incenter.
All right, front row, fresh question. A proof that begins by looking at what's given and makes known statements until it arrives at the conclusion. There's only 2 choices. I'm not going to give you the second guess. Synthetic method. How does the analytic method start, Ethan?
By a process of deducting reason.
Wow.
Help him.
Thinking from your given.
That was the synthetic. We've moved on to
Oh, I
analytic
thought that
now.
was what
See what you're
I thought that was
Look at what you're trying to prove.
Yeah.
Analytic method. No, Genesis, no. All right, finish the statement. Next 2. Any side of a triangle will always be greater than any one side of a triangle will always be greater than
the
sum of the 2 other sides?
The difference of it.
the difference of the other 2 sides. The difference of the other 2 sides.
Keep guessing.
And any side class would be less than the sum of the other 2 sides.
If I said addition, if it was like, if it was sum and I said addition, would that be wrong?
No. The same thing.
Back row. Who was the guy who put the crown in the bathtub and Archimedes?
Oh.
R. Kelly.
Story time with Mr. Nadasky. Just seeing if you were paying attention. Good job, Kendall. All right, front row. An arc greater than a semicircle.
Greater segment.
What?
Greater segment. Minor segment. Major segment.
Major arc. Next 2. Next 2. An angle formed by 2 radii.
Inscribed. No.
Would that be a right angle?
Next 2. Central angle. Central angle formed by 2 radii. Front row. An angle formed by 2 chords having its vertex on the circle. Inscribed angle. 2 chords, vertex on the circle. Next 2. If a diameter or radius is perpendicular to a chord, it bisects the chord and bisects the arcs, by the way.
6 again.
No, Genesis. It's not going to be an answer for a very long
No,
time.
against the squares.
That's not going to be an answer anymore.
All right, back row. The perpendicular bisector of any chord will always pass through
The what?
the center of the circle.
That's gonna be the first question
Front
I
row.
like to ask you.
If in the same circle or in congruent circles, 2 chords are unequally distant from the center, then the chord that is nearer the center
It's shorter. Longer.
is greater.
It's long.
Closer to the center is larger because the closest you can get to the center is to go through the center, right? And that would be the diameter, which is always the greatest chord. Next two. If two chords are equidistant from the center,
There you go.
they're equal.
Back to 7.
Back row. A polygon completely made up of chords is called an inscribed polygon. Inscribed polygon. Front row. A line which touches a circle at only one point. Tangent. Good. Next two. A tangent to a circle and a radius drawn to the point of tangency will always be
Equal. No, perpendicular.
perpendicular.
Thank you.
My brain is so large.
Or it means that you're dumber, by the way.
Back
I did
row.
not come out and say that.
A polygon completely made up of tangent lines to a circle is called circumscribed polygon. Circumscribed polygon. Next two. How many tangents may be drawn to a circle from a point outside a circle is 2. Lucky guess.
No,
Isn't that
it's
cool?
not like I knew that.
I hadn't finished the
I
question.
knew
I
where
could have
it was
gone a
going.
different
You look
direction.
at
I was thinking 1 point.
Because I could have said how many tangents may be drawn to a circle at a point on the circle, and that would have been 1. But you got lucky. All right. Next two. If two tangents are drawn to a circle at the ends of a diameter, they will be.
Equal. Parallel.
I'm going to call it a guess. No point for parallel guesses.
Yes, I had an
Uh-huh.
educated assumption.
Back row. If two tangents are drawn to a circle from a common external point, they will be equal. That was a guess for sure, but it was your first guess at least. Instead of your third.
You always did say make an educated guess if you don't know.
I did. If two circles intersect each other, the line joining the points of intersection is called
Concord.
the
Concord.
common chord. Yes, I thought that's what
I thought
meant.
you said Concord.
I did. The
Common
Concord.
chord.
Concord, New Hampshire.
A line that passes through the centers of two circles is called
Is it called the line of centers?
line of centers.
Let's say it's not negative.
I was about to say the center segment.
Well, that would be I would have given you credit for that.
Imagine
That's the
we're
line
7
of
ahead
centers.
right now.
See what you think.
All right.
Imagine.
If two circles intersect each other, then the line of centers will be the blank blank of the common chord. Perpendicular bisector.
Go.
That's what
We
I'm
were
talking about.
destroyed.
Two circles that have the same center are referred to as being
Concentric.
concentric circles.
This is why
Concentric
Mom doesn't.
circles.
I don't know.
Yes.
Next to any angle inscribed in a semicircle is a
Inscribed.
any angle inscribed in a semicircle.
Right angle.
Right angle. That was said with conviction. I'll give it to
Swear.
The way you turn around and look at me reminded me of my father.
Whoa.
Absolutely.
He's your
look at-
dad?
Absolutely look at disgust.
You're my dad.
It looks like they win.
That's my dad.
Bro.
Back row. If two parallel lines intersect a circle, the arcs intercepted between the parallels will be equal.
We win.
We still have another day of review. What do you call it?
All right, we have 2 more days of review actually.
Real big bets.
And I think we will call that a good place to stop for today. So, our running score right now is Quamesis has 47, so good job Quamesis.
Thank you.
And Creethdole has
Someone against it.
Oh,
Someone against it.
56.
Cathedral info, by the way.
You're the
All right, so Creethdole with the
Osmosis.
significant lead. So, Quamesis, study hard tonight. You are dismissed.